isn't it though? It's
But it's the cutest little thing I ever saw.
yeah, it's just a little camera that my school has cameras that I can sign out and they give them to me. So I asked them, can I have it for the summer? And they said, sure.
Oh, it belongs to the school.
Yep, yep. The school has it, but it's yeah, just a little video camera. I mean, I remember when they used to be real big and beefy
It's
and
the cutest little thing.
yeah, and I can take this and I can plug it right into my computer
Oh my.
and it'll put everything that's on the tape in here right into my computer and then I can go through and cut out chunks and things and
Oh,
whatnot.
this modern age.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
uh, you don't realize all the advantages that have gone on through these years. This is amazing.
Well, and you have more perspective than I do for sure, but I was when I was telling you about that box of records we found.
Yeah.
I was looking at these records and they had one song on each side,
Yeah.
right? Like the old records used to
Yeah.
have just one song. And on the drive up here, I have a little music player in my car. It's I could bring it and show it to you. It's about the size of a wallet, and I have 3,000 songs in it.
Oh, these things just seem impossible.
Um,
Inventions.
it makes you wonder when I'm your age, what are things going to be like?
Yeah. You wonder, can Earth keep on going at such a pace that the difference between years ago and now,
Yeah.
it's you can't imagine what has happened to you. Do you want a cushion in back of for your back?
No, I'm
Stick one down your back.
no, I'm
Okay.
actually these cushions stick
Okay.
out really far, so
Okay. Whatever,
okay.
whatever, just so you're comfortable.
I'm all comfy for sure.
Fine.
So what should I ask you first? Uh,
Oh, I have no idea.
we'll start at the very beginning because I don't actually know this part.
No.
I remember you talking about the family moving to California Road, but where were you born?
I was born on West Broad Street, right across from 14th Street.
Uh huh.
You know where 14th Street is?
Yeah.
There was, this house is still there. There were two there. My dad owned both, maybe not right in the beginning, he didn't, but in a few years he did. He owned where he had his mother and grandmother move in when they needed a home. I guess that's the reason, but that's a double house, and it's still it. After my uncle Harvey passed away, that was my dad's youngest brother. They lived there almost all their lives, and then when they all passed away, then it was sold and the house was fixed up. I don't know whether there was I don't think, I'm not sure whether it was just painted or whether there was an outer layer of something put on against, but it looks good now. After all these years, stood there, a lifetime, and it still looks very good. And it's right, that home is right across from 14th Street,
Okay.
still there, double. And our home was up toward the other side of that double home, toward Maine, up on that side. That's where I was born.
So you were born right in the house there.
But
You were born right in the house. You didn't go to a hospital or anything
oh
like
no
that.
no 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 no
Sure.
no! Well, all of us were born right there in the house.
Okay.
When I say all of us, it was 5 children.
Okay.
3 of them, 2 of them died when they were babies. One, maybe a day or two old, the first one, and the other little boy was about 7 months old when he died within 3 days. That he caught a cold first, that they thought was only a cold. In 3 days he was dead. That was the little boy. And then the next to those 2 children came Mildred, and then I, and then there was another little boy that came, but he was born dead. My mother almost died with that death, but she finally pulled through. But my dad thought he was losing her that time, and that whole night he stayed up and thought she might be losing her. And the doctor came the next morning, and I remember they said he only pushed the door open a little bit and peeped in to see whether she might have any life, or he thought she was gone. He just opened the door a little bit to peep in before he went in. But she survived. She survived. But that was the last child they had then. That was
So
the
you,
fifth one.
okay, okay. And I assume that. Well, I have some friends who just had babies, so I know that there are like easy births and hard births. Did she tell any stories about you guys when you were about when you like being born, or when you were really really young, before you can even remember?
Well, as I said, my mother always dreaded childbirth because she lost two. Well, the one was in 1 or 2 days. It had its heart on the wrong side. So it was a traumatic time for her because every one of them didn't seem to be an easy birth, or something happened that she lost it. So she lost the first two. So then Mildred was the third one. She came along, and they always said that Mildred was such a beautiful child. Everywhere when she took her, they all made a fuss of Mildred because then I was the fourth child, and I didn't come up to the specifications that Mildred did. I was either more skinny, Mildred was all her pictures and everything. She was filled out so nice, and she looked so pretty. But I guess they didn't take a picture of me even when I was little until I was 4 years old. And that told you something. Well, at 4 years old, I was a nice looking little girl. But they had this something in front of them because Mildred was such a beautiful baby. And everybody, I guess, thought I wasn't this beautiful baby. And nobody even took a picture of me until I was 4 years old.
You could develop a complex.
Well, I was too little. I was too little. But everything from then on, went all right. But I must have had a poor start.
Well, you made up for it, I suppose.
Well, everything went fine. Then when I went to school and everything, then when Mildred went through those years of going through school, she got everything that came down the pike, every little disease, everything, and she got it hard. And I would get it, but nobody knew I hardly had it. That I would run around and supposedly had it, and nobody hardly knew that I had it. There we had all this child, and Mildred was the delicate one, always growing up.
Like when you say, you mean like chicken pox, or what kinds of?
Those little,
just
little,
colds.
all kinds of little diseases, children's little diseases. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Huh.
But Mildred would get everything that she really got really sick. And when I got something, you'd hardly know that I had anything. But it was still the same disease that I would have, but you'd never know it. So that was the way, our difference, always. And Mildred was always delicate and couldn't stand much. Well, she had a very bright mind, and she went from country school into high school when she was not quite 12. I think she was still 11 when she went in.
Okay.
Well, she went until the freshman year in high school. Then she broke down completely and had to get out of school.
Because of the pressure?
Her health.
Oh, her physical health.
Her health. She couldn't. She couldn't take it. She was delicate, and she left school, but Joseph Neidig was the principal, and he said, her grades were way up all the time, but she was a delicate child, and he said when she got out of school, when she was sick there and got out of school, he said he would give her the same year credit for the whole year. She only went till I think March, and then dropped out. But then he said, well, we will give her the whole credit for the year because her marks were way up. So then she had thought, she was discouraged and didn't want to go back to school. So she stayed out one whole year. Then she was ready to go back to school. Then she went back, and she went into the next class, and then she went through high school. Then she graduated in 1923.
And she was 2 years older than you? How many years older?
2.5.
2.5. So she would have still been, even taking that year off, she would have still been a grade?
She was still in the right class of her age.
Okay.
Of graduation.
Okay.
Yes.
And you skipped a couple grades, right?
Well, yeah, I got in high school. I got in high school early. Yeah. I graduated in 25, and I was still 16. Where school let out a little bit earlier those years. They didn't go into June. Now, my birthday was in June, but we got out, I think, the beginning of May. If I remember right, I think we got in at the beginning of May. So in June, I would have been 17 when I graduated from high school. So I was not quite 17 when I graduated.
Okay.
And that was in 25.
Okay.
And I graduated I was born in June 21st of 1908. And as I say, the school year let out in May, where I would have been 17 in June if I had.
And so what school?
So I skipped a year.
Okay. Okay. When you were like really young, and when you guys were young and in school, what was the elementary school that you went to? Like,
I started out in 10th Street.
10th Street.
10th Street.
Yes, that's not still a school, right? I mean, I'm trying to think what's there now. Is that still?
Well, the building is still there. I don't know what they do with it.
Okay.
I think it was connected to the Methodist Church later in the years.
Okay.
I don't know what the Methodist Church used the building for, but I think there was a connection there. But when I went, it was only the first. I honestly don't know how far. 4th grade, maybe. There at 10th Street. That belonged to the Quakertown School District.
Sure.
Yeah.
And did you walk?
Oh,
walk there?
sure.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, yes. I walked everywhere. When I went to high school, I walked from the farm, and part of that time I came home for lunch.
Well, that's got to be.
That was on 6th Street.
That's got to be close to a mile at least from the California road.
Oh my goodness, it's over a mile. Oh yeah, it was over a mile.
Didn't that get cold in the winter?
Well, of course it was cold in the winter. Yes. Now, I don't remember exactly about the weather when I was walking home for lunch, and I don't know why in the world I did it, but I did it, and I don't know why.
Did they not provide lunch?
No.
So there wasn't cafeterias.
But you know, everybody from town would go home for lunch also. Well, here, you know, there weren't too many outside children into town those years.
Okay.
So, you were on your own. Whatever you did, you were on your own. Now, later on, then when I was in high school, then I worked at the restaurant and I went down at lunch and worked the noon hour because the people from the factories came into the restaurant for, for their lunch. And then I came from school down to the business part of Quakertown down there. Do you remember where, I don't know, Hager's Meat Market? Is there still a meat market down in the heart of way down there? Um,
Kind of like where Signs 5 and 10 and the Friendly
yeah, across
Bookstore.
from 5 and 10.
Okay. I don't think there's a meat market there anymore.
Okay, okay. There was a that time, there was a meat market there, and then the restaurant was next door to the meat market. And then next to that came a variety store, sold all kinds of stuff. Roof and Gusman's is what it was called that time. But that was a store that sold all kinds of notions, all kinds of. They had a variety of stuff they sold, but they might have been dress goods, and from there it ranged out to all kinds of stuff. That was the next Roof and Gusman's. Now they were there for years.
And then the railroad station was right
That
there
was
too.
down
right?
where it is.
Yeah, okay.
That was
And
down.
and so this restaurant that you worked at, did you wait tables or did you work at the counter or
No, I wait tables.
Okay.
Tables. That's
And,
right.
and how old were you when you did that?
Oh, 15? 15, 16.
And what would have I don't have any sense of what would a meal cost? Would you get tips? Did they do tips back then or how did that work? Would you get paid?
I got now and then I would get 10 cents if somebody got a meal, a regular meal, or if strangers came in, like salesmen. Sometimes then I would get maybe 10 cents or something like that. Yeah, I got a couple, you know. But I was very proud of that when I got tips, of course.
And what would you
I got 15 cents an hour.
15 cents an hour.
I never got above that.
And what did you do? Did you use that money to buy sodas, or did you save up for shoes, or what did you do with this money that you were saving?
Well, in my savings, it was very precious when you got a little money together. Now I would buy shoes or something that I needed, like wearing apparel or something like that. Or, my parents would buy it for me, but they would use that money if I had any.
So even at that age, you were kind of contributing
Oh, sure.
to
Oh,
the.
yes.
You weren't just spending it on
Well, I tell you,
yourself.
by the time I was 9, I was running all over Quakertown selling butter. My dad had a butter route that I guess he was raised by his grandparents. Oh, he never lived with his parents, his grandparents. When he was born, he was the first one of 12, and his mother still lived at home. In fact, when she was conceived, they were not married. But then, in the meantime, before he was born, they got married, but they lived with the grandparents, my dad's grandparents. They lived there, and he never got away from there. The parents then got married, and they lived there for a year. But in that year, then they were ready to have another child. So then they had Uncle Frank, and